absolutely beautiful day, and I finally was able to get out here to the blueberry bushes, and I'm kind of just winging it. I've got cut off some of the bee balm, and I've cut just some, dead twigs sticking up out of the herbs and everything, and I decided I need to come out here because the blueberry bushes are like overrun with blooms, which is really cool, but the plant doesn't need that many blooms. Like, it can't handle that many blooms. So I'm kind of trying to get rid of some dead stuff, get rid of anything that's kind of going into the center, and just make it more open where it's going to get good airflow and everything. So I'm going to show you some of them that I'm going to take out. I've only been working on one so far. The big one, I don't even know. It's got like a lot of old stuff on it. So just like fruit trees, it's good to also trim your fruit bushes. And so that's what I'm doing today. Now, if you'll see these two are older, but they're also rubbing, and I don't really want them to rub. So I'm probably going to cut this branch right here off, even though it does have quite a few blooms on it, but I don't want those rubbing. I need to just kind of look and see which one's better. I might take this one off instead. Just kind of have to see, I might be taking one of these branches out next year. I did cut 2 or 3 of the big wooden branches or, stalks that were in there. Like this one right here, this one with the bark coming off. If we follow it all the way up, there's really not a whole lot on all those up there that's sticking up out of the sky. If you not really focusing on those very good, but there it goes. There's not really any blooms up there, so I'm actually going to take that whole stalk out. I'm going to cut it off down here at the bottom because there's nothing really on that. But I mean, look at all these blooms. So all these were swollen, and now you can tell, if it would focus, you can see that there are quite a few little blooms on those, and those are going to be flowers and then eventually blueberries. But like, this one that's going kind of back this way, I'm probably going to cut off. There's just a few like in here. I'm going to cut some of these out depending on which ones maybe look better. But just where they're crossing, I'm going to go ahead and get those out. But I did start down here first because I do want to get the old canes that don't have a lot on them, get those out of there, get those cut out, and then that will help me up here, kind of open it up a little bit more. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to cut all these blooms off. I'm not going to lie, but they say to take 50 to 70% like off of the plant. So, but it's really hard. I'm telling you, it is. It's really hard. But I'm going to do these 2, and then I'm just going to kind of walk around and look at my fruit trees that are blooming. I can see the bees are already pollinating. We had a couple of cold nights these past 2 nights, and I was really afraid that they were going to not be okay, but I don't think it was too hard of a frost. So that's good. So hopefully we don't get down too cold and into the 20s because I've got lots of blooms happening. So I'm going to get this done. I'm going to show you what it looks like in a minute though. First, I'm going to back up and show you what this big one over here looks like without it being pruned. This is the big one. You can see I've got low hanging branches that I need to get rid of, and lots of old branches that need to go. So I'm really going to have to prune a lot of that out, I think. And then I do have new canes that are coming up that will have more on them, but yep, lots to take out. Well, this doesn't probably look the prettiest. I did cut quite a bit off of it. So it's going to get better airflow. I think it still has definitely going to have to pay attention next year and prune this a little bit better and not let it get so tall, maybe. So I don't know, we'll see. But I do have some blooms over here I need to look at and make sure they don't have any branches growing into the center. Look at all the honeybees flying around, and they're not mine. I'm not sure where they're at, but there is a lot of them. I was afraid some of these apples weren't going to make it, but I think this has blooms coming out, hopefully. I haven't decided if that's dead or not. It shouldn't be because the coats did not get a hold of this one. This one over here, the gooseberries are coming back, so that's good. This one looks like it's going to bloom too. Here is the gooseberry. You can see some of the green coming out. I want to run my hands too. These have stickers on them. And I did trim these a little bit just so they aren't crossing. I did trim this one a tad, and I chopped off some of the top because I don't want these to get very tall. I want to dwarf them just a little bit. Same thing here. This will have to be trimmed. I see one I need to trim, actually. Let me grab my snips and trim this one. So this one right here, see how it's kind of going in? I don't want that there. So I'm just gonna trim it off at that, and that looks better. Not perfect. I am by no means an expert at this, but that does look a little bit better. And I topped this one. I checked this one over here. This one's a newer one as well. Didn't have to do a whole lot to it because I did last year. I've got a pair over here that I kind of just snipped a little bit. Now this one right here, the goats actually got a hold of and pulled a lot of the bark off. If you can see that, there's a lot of bark missing. So now it's coming out way down here, which I don't know. There was some down here that I cut off because that's below the graph. So I don't know if this one is actually above or not. These look like they're coming out and these are above. So if these are good, I'll probably cut this one off just in case. I cut everything off up here and I'm just gonna leave this so I don't mow it down because that would probably happen. So these two are the ones the bees are in like crazy. This is the one over here that actually broke off a big part of it. It was so loaded with pears a few years ago. Or peaches. Peaches. I really need to top these. Like I need to get a ladder or something. And these really need to be cut like a lot shorter. Take a lot down off of these, but not this year. Maybe this coming year. I don't know. We'll see. Peonies are coming back. So far I see 3 out of 5 that are coming back up out of the ground. My roses, my Roguso roses are coming back. That one is anyways. Yep, that one is too. I'm pretty sure these need to be trimmed. But like with this really nice weather, I mean the grass is growing, everything's growing. We're gonna have to mow before long, which not really excited about that. But once I get everything weeded maybe, and the plastic back here, hasn't happened yet, but that's okay. But once I get everything, I think just doing a little bit at a time so I don't get overwhelmed, and that's how it's got to be. So let me know if you trim, if you have blueberry bushes, or if you trim your own, or if you have somebody come do it. I am by no means an expert. I just kind of do it with what I've seen, what I've watched, and what looks right, what looks good. So that's about it. All right, hope you like this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to be lovely lights today.